Hello everyone, this is your friend Shinobi Nexus 2.0 and we are back in new fanfic. What if Naruto was banished by Konoha and returned as the Emperor of the West? Part 4. Snafu's Notes. Yes, I know that Kushina's name is being spelled incorrectly, but I did that on purpose, solely because the name looks better with two N's instead on one in my opinion. Also, this chapter combined with the first half of Hinata's ascension was a whopping 21 pages long, so I split it. Oh, and the little secret that Shikaku told Shikamaru. It's in this chapter. And keeping in with my modus operandi, it's a twist that you will not see coming. And this twist will make you hate Konoha even more. Which makes Naruto and Hinata's scheme regarding Konoha even more satisfying. Entry 12. Right now, there is a lull in the invasion. I guess I should start from the beginning. The Akatsuki has resurfaced. 3 months into my marriage with Naruto and they had resurfaced. Naruto and I are in Suna, where two of them had tried to kidnap Gaara. We were there on an inspection tour of the Suna consulate, as well as Naruto checking on Gaara's seal, since Shukaku was starting to act nuts again, when we heard the commotion. But even the Akatsuki were not expecting the Emperor and the Empress consort to deprive them of 2 more members. I identified the blonde as the renegade Iwa ninja, Mad Bomber Deidara, while Kankuro and Baki identified the puppet master as former Suna ninja Sasori. Naruto had finished repairing Gaara's seal when the alarm went off. Yahiko and Konan proved to be useful when they told us how the pair fought. I decided to go after Deidara, while Naruto and the elite guard dealt with Sasori. Gaara provided with the distraction, keeping Deidara occupied while I made my move. The crazy terrorist forgot one major rule we shinobi must follow: be mindful of your surroundings. I summoned a chakra Yumi and fired one Kaden-powered arrow at Deidara, striking his pouch where he keeps his plastic explosives. For a split second, night became day as the pouch exploded, destroying the lower half of Deidara's body. Gaara and I found his mangled body soon after. He was dead. I later found out that the explosion caused by me detonating Deidara's pouch had distracted Sasori, allowing Yahiko to unleash the Shinra Tensei, destroying Sasori's body and core, but not before Sasori had managed to kill his grandmother, Chiyo, when she tried to stop him. Before Sasori died, he told us that the Akatsuki was coming for Gaara, as they assumed that he knew where the remaining Jinchuriki were hiding. And with the deaths of both himself and Deidara, Yahiko knew that Nagato would unleash the 5 paths of pain upon Suna. According to Yahiko and Konan, the 5 paths of pain was a rather deadly technique used by Nagato that serves as his representative in the Akatsuki. The 5 bodies were all reanimated corpses of fallen ninja, outfitted with chakra rods, allowing Nagato to control them separately, and each wielding the Rinnegan. There was no way around it. Suna would be invaded by the Akatsuki. But we did have the advantage of having the Jinchuriki. Aside from having pain, the Akatsuki also could use Zetsu to create a clone army, one that can even rival the Imperial forces, as well as having Madara Uchiha and his eternal Magankyu Sharingan. Gaara's reaction was instant. He called all able-bodied Junin and Chunin back to Suna to prepare for the inevitable invasion, and ordered the immediate evacuation of the civilians and the genin of the Ninja Academy to both the shelters and the Wind Capital. Naruto used the Demon's Gate to return to the west and inform the Imperial Council of the matter. I remained behind with Yahiko and Konan. 2 hours later, Naruto returned via the Demon's Gate jutsu. But he was not alone. The Jinchuriki were with him. As was Zabuza and the Demon Squad in all its glory. Yugito and her Hellcat unit were also present, as were the Yamada clan, the Shinto and Okajima clans and 3 battalions from the Imperial Defense Forces. Even decided he wanted in on the action, leaving the Imperial Council in charge until Naruto's return. Tamari and Team Misfit also join in the fray, Tamari wanting to fight for her home, Maru and the other 3 wanting to make us proud. While Naruto, Gaara and the high-ranking Junin from both Suna and the Imperial forces went over battle strategies, one of the lookouts from Suna came with the news. The 5 paths of pain were at the village gates. Fortunately, Gaara had ordered his ninja to fall back, while Naruto and Yahiko went out to deal with them personally. Conan and I kept to the rooftops, ready to defend and assist at a moment's notice. Flashback. Sunagakure no Sato, Wind Country. The streets were deserted, the civilians and those unable to fight having been evacuated. The Suna ninja and the imperial forces had orders not to engage the 5 paths, and that the emperor and Yahiko would deal with them personally. Hinata and Conan watched from the rooftops as Yahiko stood before the 5 paths of pain: the animal path, the human path, Naraka path, the Asura path, and the Preta path. Yahiko. This doesn't have to end this way, the animal path said. All Lord Madara wants is peace. It's not the kind of peace I want, Yahiko shot back. Placing the word under an infinite Tsukuyomi is not peace. It's slavery. Still as arrogant as ever, the Naraka path said. That has not changed about you. You cannot win against us. Step aside and let us retrieve the Shukaku Jinchuriki, the human path said. Through him will we find the locations of the other Jinchuriki. As this exchange continued, something caught the animal path's eye. It was a kunai, sleek and black, made out of carbon steel. She crouched down and picked it up, inspecting it. Meanwhile, Naruto silently appeared from behind, katana drawn. I'll save you the trouble, Yahiko replied. The Jinchuriki are safe. You or Madara will not use them for your foolish ambition. Such impudence, the animal path said, still holding the kunai. I will make your death quick and painless. Call it a favor from an old friend. I think my boss would have something to say about that, Yahiko replied. At that moment, Naruto struck. Hiroshin no Jutsu. A yellow flash of light in Naruto stood behind Yahiko. The animal path, sensing the danger, jumped, while the other 4 were a bit slow in registering the threat. She landed on her feet while Naruto calmly sheathed his sword. The technique was flawless, and Nagato did not see it coming. While Yahiko had them distracted, the animal path had picked up a Hiroshin kunai. Not the tri-bladed variant made infamous by Minato Namikaze, but a sleek, black kunai with the Hiroshin seals etched into the blade. Yahiko had a second Hiroshin kunai strapped to his back, just in case the sneak attack didn't work. When Naruto executed the Hiroshin, he cleaved the human, Naraka, Preta and Asura paths in 2, while the animal path managed to escape, barely. Cute trick, but it won't be good enough, the animal path said. You will regret the day that you decide to interfere. Not really, since I was the one who retrieved the Jinchuriki, Naruto replied, longcoat and cage-style hat fluttering in the breeze. I'm the Emperor of the Unified West, and you are already dead. At the moment when Naruto finished that sentence, blood sprayed out from where Naruto had slashed through bone, flesh and chakra rods. Looks of disbelief were evident on the 4 male paths, faces as their bodies split in halves and fell over, their blood staining the Suna streets. The animal path did not get off so easily. Her jump was a fraction of a second off, allowing Naruto to cleave through her legs. She let out a scream as she fell backwards, bleeding profusely. Naruto calmly strode over to the remaining path, grabbed her by the neck and hoisted her into the air. The animal path looked at the face of the emperor and gasped. The yellow flash. No, I am his son, Naruto replied. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. The animal path's eyes went wide. The Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Those were Nagato's last words as Naruto raised his other hand, covered with his own chakra, and touched the chakra rods on the animal path's face. End flashback. The chakra feedback that Naruto had unleashed on the animal path not only destroyed her Rinnegan, but also the other Rinnegan on the other paths as well. When we sent a scout to Amecagear, he verified that the feedback had killed Nagato, destroying his eyes and tongue as well. The Rinnegan allowed the user all elemental attributes, but even the most powerful of the eyes have a blind spot. And the last thing they were not expecting was the son of Minato Namikaze executing the Hirishin. With Nagato dead, the Akatsuki's numbers had dwindled down to just 4: Itachi and Madara Uchiha, Kisame Hoshigaki and Zetsu. We had forced Madara's hand and now he has no choice but to invade. Entry 13. The battle is over. The Suna Imperial forces have won. The Akatsuki have been annihilated. 100,000 Zetsu clones, along with Itachi Uchiha, Kisame Hoshigaki and Madara Uchiha against 6,500 Suna ninja, 50,000 Imperial soldiers, 6 Jinx Hyoriki and 1 freed-tailed beast. Sounds like a suicide battle, right? Well, my husband was once known as the unpredictable, knuckle-headed ninja of Konoha. And as emperor, he still lives up to his title. Gaara had declared most of the city expendable. Suna can always rebuild, he surmised. Yahiko had once again been instrumental in telling us how Zetsu fought, his strengths and weaknesses, as well as his jutsu. Katami vowed to deal with Madara personally, while Naruto decided to deal with Itachi. Maru was assigned to Okajima for the duration of the battle, while Moegi was at the Imperial Consulate with the Yamada clan. The consulate had been transformed into a triage center and the Yamada clan were renowned for their healing jutsu. Last, Udon was assigned to Takuma Chiba. Naruto had ordered me to remain at the Cage Tower. I refused. Where you go, I told him, giving him no room to argue with me. He sighed and allowed me to come with him. The gathered forces of Suna and the Empire were in the streets, ready for the battle. Sanshi had told me how Naruto can fight with his men, giving them support and pumping them up for the battle that is yet to come. Now, I had a front row view of my husband's tactics. This is where we fight. This is where they die. The Akatsuki will be crushed once and for all. Give them nothing, but take from them everything. The Imperial forces and the Suna ninja broke into cheers, raising their weapons into the air. Naruto sure knows how to work the crowd, to pump them up full of confidence. It was midnight when the Akatsuki came. They came in through the gates which had been destroyed earlier by Deidara, led by Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki. Naruto and Yahiko had encountered the first half of the Zetsu clones. Naruto created 200 shadow clones and brought down a quarter of the Zetsu clones using the Hirishin, while Yahiko decimated the other quarter by using the Shinra Tensei. As the second wave of clones came charging in, led by Madara himself, Naruto pulled out a trump card. I've heard of Orochimaru using the summoning, Impure World Resurrection to summon the first 2 Hokages to fight the Sandaime, but I never knew that Naruto knew the jutsu. I later found out that Orochimaru had stolen the technique from Mist. As Madara and Itachi watched, Naruto not only summoned the fallen Akatsuki members consisting of Deidara, Hidan, Kazuku and Sasori, but he also resurrected the most powerful members of the Uchiha clan and ordered them to destroy the Akatsuki. Flashback. After Naruto had unleashed the resurrected Uchiha clan and the 4 slain Akatsuki upon the Akatsuki, he faced Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki. Katami had initiated combat with Madara and the two were fighting tooth and nail. Zabuza had showed up and Kisame was itching to settle the score with the former Mist swordsman. Once those two were gone, Naruto drew his sword and removed the cage-style hat, allowing Itachi to view his face for the first time. Recognize me now? Naruto asked. Itachi was hardly a person who would be shocked over anything, but seeing the Kyuubi Jinchuriki standing before him was indeed priceless. You, Uzumaki. Naruto nodded. Surprised, Uchiha, the last person you'd expect was the Emperor of the West, he confirmed. It was also me who intercepted the Jinchuriki, of which all are present and are fighting in the battle. Madara wanted the power of the tailed beasts, so I'm giving it to him. See how he likes being on the receiving end of its power. To Hinata, Naruto said, "This is my fight. Go and help the others." Hinata slowly nodded. Okay. Don't die on me. She ran off, leaving the Emperor and the renegade Uchiha to face off for the final time. End flashback. The battle between the fallen Uchiha and my husband was indeed brutal. Naruto would tell me about it shortly afterward. A epic battle of swords, fists and jutsu. One city block was incinerated with Itachi's Amaterasu alone. Another was razed to the ground by Naruto's deadly tempest. But Naruto would gain the upper hand in the battle when he feigned weakness and allowed Itachi to transport him inside Tsukuyomi. Then he activated his fox eye and released himself from Tsukuyomi by using a specialized seal he had created. During the battle, he had gotten close enough to slip it on Itachi's back. It also had the desired effect of destroying Itachi's Sharingan eyes. Naruto retrieved his sword and disemboweled Itachi. Now Sasuke is truly the last Uchiha. As for Madara, I ran into Katami as the battle began to wind down. Her bottom half of her face was bloody and she was dragging the body of Madara Uchiha in one hand. Madara may had been immortal, but not even he could survive an enraged Nine Tails ripping out his heart and consuming it. She then destroyed the eternal Magankyu Sharingan by poking them out and crushing them under her heel. So ended the life of the true mastermind of the Akatsuki. Zabuza also came out on top in his match against Kisame. He was seriously injured after Kisame scratched him with Samahata, but he would survive. Zabuza's demon unit left a path of destruction in their wake. A and B were pretty much indestructible together, as the pile of Zetsu corpses could attest to the fact. Yugito and her Hellcats showed no mercy, backing up the Okajima clan and Maru Sarutobi. Maru showed impressive courage by planting a Rasengan in a Zetsu clone who was trying to sneak up on Yugito, saving her life. Udon had 19 certified kills to his name before finally passing out from exhaustion. Takuma Chiba had taken him to the Suna consulate, where the Suna Medical Corps, Moegi and the Yamada clan worked on healing and tending to the injured. The elite guards had defended the Cage Tower along with Tamari and Konkuro. Utakata and Fu also assisted in defending the tower. Han and Roshi were like a force unleashed. Han's steam armor made him invulnerable to Zetsu's attacks. I think those two killed more than the rest of the Jinchuriki combined. Like Naruto, Gaara was on the front lines, enveloping the Zetsu clones in mass sand coffins, and destroying them with the sand burials. Shukaku had boosted Gaara's killing abilities 100-fold. While Naruto was fighting Itachi, I assisted the elite guards. My kill tally was up to 120 Zetsu clones. Not too shabby if I say so myself. After Naruto had eliminated Itachi, he reunited with Gaara and the others, and pushed the remaining Zetsu clones into the town center. Out of a force of 100,000 clones, only 300 remained. Naruto gave the order, destroy them all. And that we did. Once the real Zetsu was identified, both halves, Gaara had ordered the bodies of the fallen Akatsuki to be rounded up and placed under heavy guard. Naruto had sent out an order to a squad of scouts to head for a Megakure to retrieve Nagato's body. Once Naruto and Gaara had claimed victory, Naruto had retreated to the Cage Tower. Once behind closed doors, he passed out from chakra exhaustion. Gaara and I carried him to the Kazakage office, and allowed him to rest. The summoning jutsu that Naruto had unleashed had ran its course, and those that he resurrected had vanished into dust. The Akatsuki invasion of Suna is officially over. Meanwhile, in Konoha, inside the council chambers, flanked by two Anbu, Sakura Haruno stood before the Godime Hokage, her face in a grim line. Ever since Sakura's defeat at the hands of the former Hyuga heiress, Sakura had become even more hyper-tempered and in some cases, even more violent. But every time someone had tried to report it to Tsunade, her mother would either bribe or intimidate the victim into silence. This time, however, Sakura's luck has just ran out. When it became clear that Ino was the better student, despite Tsunade training them both at the same time, Sakura decided that she would be the only apprentice. The previous night, she came across Ino and attacked her from behind. Had she been paying attention in her rage, she would have realized that not only was the victim was not Ino, but rather a recently minted bottle blonde Konoha Chunin, but she had assaulted the Chunin in full view of the fire daimyo, who was in Konoha along with his wife, the latter getting treated by Tsunade. The Fire Lord had his guardian ninja take Sakura into custody. When Asuna found out that Sakura had assaulted a Konoha ninja in full view of the Fire Lord, she knew that Sakura was in trouble. Which is why the entire Konoha council was present. Or rather, the shinobi half, as it was a shinobi matter. Asuna was allowed to attend since she was Sakura's mother. Inochi Yamanaka was also present, thankful that Ino decided to remain at home when the attack happened. Lady Hokage, I beg of you, please be merciful, Asuna pleaded. Sakura was named the best kunoichi in her genin class. She should be allowed to resume her training. It was all just a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Tsunade repeated. Sakura had assaulted a Chunin when she thought it was Yamanaka, when it became clear that Sakura was becoming a liability. Asuna started to speak when Tsunade cut her off. That Chunin had a cracked skull, and it is your daughter's fault. But, silence. Tsunade shouted. Asuna Haruno, you are ordered to pay for the medical care of the unfortunate victim. Failure to comply will result in your assets seized and you placed in jail. Understand? Yes, Lady Hokage, Asuna replied through gritted teeth. Tsunade then turned to Sakura. Sakura Haruno, for your crimes, you are no longer a Chunin in the Konohagakure shinobi forces. You are hereby stripped of your rank and your ninja registration is revoked. For your disgraceful actions in assaulting an innocent, you are to live the rest of your life as a civilian of the Leaf. So ordered. Sakura was then taken away, with Asuna following her. But before Tsunade could adjourn, an Anbu came rushing in. Lady Hokage, Suna is being attacked. What? By who? The Akatsuki. The Akatsuki are invading Suna. Almost immediately, Tsunade took action. Shizune, you're in charge. Captain Sarutobi, form a team of Junin and have them meet me at the gates in 5 minutes. Asuma nodded and rushed off to obey. Konoha gates. Tsunade looked over her team. They were the best that Konoha had to offer. Asuma had chosen the Ino Shika Cho trio, Rock Lee, Maeda Gai, Tenten, Enko Mitarashi, Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, Kakashi Hatake, and Sasuke Uchiha. What are you doing here? The Godime demanded of the remaining member of Cell 7. I volunteered, Sasuke replied calmly. I wish to help Suna in repelling the Akatsuki invasion, and to redeem the Uchiha name. Given what your father was planning and what your brother had done, that is going to take a lot of work, Enko muttered. Let him come, Lady Hokage. If he tries to head for sound, I'll kill him myself. Fine, Tsunade muttered. Let's go. Sunagakure no Sato, Wind Country, several days later. It would be 3 days before Naruto regained consciousness. Damn it, my head is killing me. His headache was soon gone as he felt the effects of the mystic palm jutsu. He recognized the touch in an instant. Hinata. Yes, love, it's me. Naruto slowly opened his eyes. He found himself stretched out on the couch inside the Casecage's office. Hinata was by his side. The Empress Consort was in a fresh ninja uniform, but this time, instead of the flak vest, she wore a black and gray robe which identified her as a sage. The Emperor rose to a seated position. How long was I out? Almost 3 days. It's early evening, Hinata replied. You should take it easy, Naruto. You're still exhausted. I know. My reserves are at least half full, so I should be okay. What's been happening? Hinata sat down next to him. After the battle, I sent back word to the west that we had won. Ryuji and Haruka had ordered all Pakara merchants in the area to deliver food and aid to Suna. The Pakara merchant house has been busy around the clock. Remind me to send a thank you note to the Shinzens, Naruto replied. Anything else? Gaara's placed all of Suna under martial law, Katami said as she entered the office, followed by Gaara, Konan and Yahiko. Glad to see you're awake, Kit. Hinata has been by your side for the past couple of days. I noticed, Naruto replied. The others, the guards, Team Misfits, the Jinchuriki, all are alive and accounted for, Yahiko replied. Congratulations, Namikaze. You have won a great victory. Naruto shook his head. No, we all did. I can't take the credit. We all fought long and hard, and against a powerful enemy. He stood up. As of this moment, once I return back west, I am declaring the Jinchuriki national treasures of the unified West. For their actions here in the battle for the village hidden in the sand, they are now heroes of the unified West. Gaara stepped up and extended his hand. Lord Namikaze. Congratulations. Naruto shook it. Same to you, Lord Casecage. He looked at his clothing. Is there a place where I can freshen up? The city gates had been blown off, the city walls had cracks, crevasses and holes. Bodies of Zetsu clones littered the area surrounding the city gates as Tsunade and the Konoha envoy approached the gates. The Konoha ninja identified the Suna ninja by their style of flak vests. Squads of Suna Junin and Imperial troops were hard at work rounding up the bodies and burning them in several giant pyres. The Konoha envoy passed several of them as they approached the gates. Pakara merchants led their caravans into and out of the city, dropping off food and aid. As they approached the city walls, they noticed the number of tents located on one side of the city gates, the Imperial forces having made camp, since Suna was too small for the Imperial forces to contain. They could hear the laughter and the music coming from the camp, as the Imperial soldiers recounted their heroic feats of not only themselves, but of their emperor, the Empress consort the Jinchuriki, the Casecage, and of the Suna ninja, of which the Imperial forces have grown to respect. Asuma approached the gates with a bit of apprehension. Maru was a Suna ninja, and following Naruto's banishment, Maru had severed all ties to his uncle for supporting the banishment order. Kakashi had said that Maru had made Chunin and that he was the emperor's student, but even he had his doubts as he looked upon the village. But as he approached the ruined gates along with Tsunade and the rest of the Konoha ninja, he saw his nephew, battered, bruised and bandaged, standing guard with Moegi, Udon and two of the emperor's elite guards, of which Tenten and Rock Lee identified as Takuma Chiba and the second Asuma identified as Sana Sanshi. Maru stood up. Hold it. State your business. He trailed off when he saw Asuma. Oh, it's you, Captain Sarutobi. Asuma winced. His nephew had never forgave him. Still hasn't from the look of things. What are you doing here? Maru demanded. Last time I checked, Suna and Konoha are on bad terms. Regarding that incident, he said, glaring daggers at Sasuke. You're not welcome here in Suna. Go home. We came out of good faith, Tsunade interjected. We came to see Gaara and see if he needs help in repelling the Akatsuki. There's no need for that, Lady Hokage, Tamari replied as she appeared, looking just as haggard as Maru. The battle is over. Has been for the past 2 days. Tsunade blinked. So, Suna still stands, the Wind Mistress replied. If it wasn't for the Emperor and his Imperial forces, we would have been overrun. Sorry you came this way, Senju, but Konoha is still not welcome here, take your ninja and go. As Tamari turned to walk away, Sasuke stepped forward. Wait. Tamari turned around. Now what? Was Itachi here? Sasuke asked. Tamari nodded. He was here. He faced the Emperor in combat. The Emperor killed him. The Akatsuki have been routed and destroyed under the combined leaders of my brother and the Emperor. Sasuke stiffened slightly, but accepted the news. Take me to his body. Tamari blinked. What? Take me to Itachi's body? Sasuke repeated firmly. I want to see it with my own eyes. Please. Tamari studied the last of the Uchiha long and hard. She had heard that he was working on his own redemption and redeeming the good name of his clan. Maybe giving him the pleasure of seeing Itachi's body would at least give him some kind of closure. Tamari turned to Maru. Sarutobi, you're with me. To Tsunade and the Konoha ninja, she said, follow me. Maru balked, but followed Tamari's orders. He still despised Asuma, and that animosity showed as he and Tamari escorted the Konoha envoy through the village. Imperial troops and Suna ninja patrolled the streets, while medic ninjas tended to the wounded. As they passed the Imperial consulate, they saw that it had been transformed into a triage center. Unknown to the Konoha envoy, the consulate also served as the main spot where the Jinchuriki were resting up from the battle. Asuma looked around at the carnage. Suna ninja and Imperial ninja and samurai were hard at work policing up the bodies of the Zetsu clones, carrying them outside of the village to feed to the burning pyres. Even Sasuke himself was appalled at the level of carnage. So what exactly happened here? Choji asked. It was 50,000 ninja and samurai from the Imperial forces, combined with all of Suna's ninja force with the 6 Jinchuriki against the remaining members of the Akatsuki, and 100,000 Zetsu clones, Tamari replied. 100,000? That's nuts. Kiba exclaimed. You guys were outnumbered 2 to -1. Tamari smiled. True, but the Emperor has fought against twice that number when he was uniting the West. I heard that he could bring about victory from defeat. Those rumors turned out to be very true. Those 100,000 clones turned out to be a major disadvantage when in close quarters. It also helped that Naruto used the Hirushun and Yahiko used the Shinra Tensei to slay half of those clones, not to mention resurrecting the fallen Uchiha clan and those 4 slain Akatsuki, Tamari thought. It's not entirely impossible for a smaller force to defeat a much larger force, Shino noted. Minato Namikaze decimated Iwa's ninja force by himself in the last Shinobi War. And his son just blew his kill record out of the water, Tamari thought. She had heard rumors of the Hirushun in action from Iwa ninja. Seeing it in action, on the other hand, was a completely different story. It was beautiful, but at the same time, very deadly. How did you end out, Maru? Asuma asked, hoping to break the ice with his estranged nephew. I'm still alive, aren't I? Maru shot back curtly. He made it perfectly clear that he did not want to talk to the elder Sarutobi. Asuma quickly caught on and remained silent. I screwed up big time, the elder Sarutobi lamented. Reaching the town square, the area was clear of the Zetsu clones. A smaller camp of Imperial troops, mainly the Hellcats and the Demon Squad, made their temporary home. Yugito and Zabuza were nowhere to be seen, as they both were inside their tents, catching up on some much-needed sleep. On the opposite end of the square, Tsunade saw him. A tall man wearing all black, Junin vest, pants and boots, the face concealed by the cage-style hat. He wasn't alone. Beside him was a female in a ninja jumpsuit, and the robe which to Tsunade identified her as a sage, her face concealed by a conical straw hat. Tsunade saw that they had an air of authority around the pair. That and the Imperial soldiers that were guarding the town center bowed towards the pair, while the couple acknowledged them with a nod of their heads. The Godime Hokage nudged Maru. Is that him? Maru nodded. That's him, all right. The Emperor of the Unified West. The woman beside him is his wife, the Empress Consort. The Unified West are allied to Suna, which is why we managed to survive. As Tamari and Maru led the Konoha ninja to where the bodies of the Akatsuki were stored, Tsunade remained behind. Shikamaru noticed this and stopped. Maru not Tamari did not notice, as did the Konoha ninja. I know that look, Lady Hokage, Shikamaru said as they watched the Emperor and his wife walk off in the direction of the cage tower. You get that look, bad things happen. You worry too much, Shikamaru, Tsunade replied. If the Emperor had the Jinchuriki here, then Naruto could be here as well. I got to know if he is okay. Shikamaru watched as Tsunade followed the Emperor and the Empress Consort. Sighing to himself while muttering his trademark phrase, he went after Tsunade. While Tamari and Maru led the Konoha envoy to the location where the bodies of the Akatsuki were under heavy guard, Tsunade, along with Shikamaru, had made their way to the cage tower. On the way, they passed many injured members of the Imperial forces, as well as those from Suna. The Suna medic nins, as well as the medics from the Imperial Empire and the medic nins from the Yamada clan, were working overtime to tend to the wounded. As they passed the Imperial consulate, it was made into a triage for the more critically wounded. As the tower was not guarded, the Slug Sage and the Lazy Nara clan heir had no problem in gaining access. Tsunade had been inside the cage tower once before. Relations with the Sand had soured because of Uzumaki's banishment. She had hoped to arrive with her envoy to assist in the battle, only to find that the battle was over, that the joint Suna Imperial forces had won. Now, she wished to have a word with the Emperor, since it was he who had retrieved the Jinchuriki. Tsunade and Shikamaru had approached the cage's office, where they could hear voices inside. Seeing as how there was no one in the halls that could stop them, they decided to listen in. Maybe even ask the Emperor about Naruto's whereabouts. Despite the number of injuries, we came out fairly intact. Only 900 Suna ninja injured, 0 fatalities, thankfully. Half of the village is in ruins. Gaara, Tsunade thought. What's the tally on the Imperial forces? A male voice asked. The Emperor, Shikamaru thought. Double the amount wounded, also 0 fatalities, a female voice replied, one that Shikamaru and Tsunade recognized instantly. Hinata, Shikamaru and Tsunade thought. Inside the office of the cage. The joint Imperial Suna War Council were going over the final numbers. Gaara was behind his desk, while Naruto and Hinata were seated together on the couch. Konan was busy redressing Yahiko's injuries. Katami was looking out of the window at the village below. Naruto turned to the two former Akatsuki. Konan. Yahiko. Sir. Yahiko looked up, as did Konan. Your information in regards to the Akatsuki proved to be invaluable, the Emperor said. Because of your actions, we have not only destroyed the Akatsuki, but no one from the Imperial forces or Suna was killed in the invasion. I know it must have been hard, destroying the organization that you helped create. It had to be done, Yahiko replied. There was no hope for Nagato. Madara had corrupted him past the point of no return. I hope he finds peace in death which he could not get in life. Outside, 2 of his bodyguards were former members of the Akatsuki. Shikamaru wondered. Madara Uchiha was still alive. Tsunade also thought. Inside. In any case, you and Konan have shown your worth to me, to my wife, and to the Empire, Naruto continued. The clan needs to rebuild, and Kimen City is a good start. The Uzumaki are scattered, but not destroyed. They will come to the west. I am making you clan head of the Uzumaki. Of course, I will still outrank you. Thank you, Lord Namikaze, Yahiko replied. In the meantime, Hinata had risen from her seat and was making her way to the office door. Outside, Tsunade and Shikamaru were thinking the same thing. Namikaze. Then the door opened, causing the both of them to fall into the office. Both Gaara and Naruto rose from their seats upon seeing Hinata open the office door, causing both Tsunade Senju and Shikamaru Nara to fall into the office in an undignified heap. Katami was upon the both of them. Grabbing Shikamaru by the hair and Tsunade by the back of her neck, she hoisted them up and tossed them both to the couch where Naruto and Hinata were seated at earlier. Hinata looked outside, and seeing that there was nobody else, closed the door behind her, taking the extra measure to place a soundproof seal and locking it. Shikamaru and Tsunade were not in shock of being caught. No, their shock was not only the fact that Hinata was married to the Emperor of the West, but the identity of the Emperor himself. To Tsunade and Shikamaru, it was as if they were looking at Minato Namikaze himself, save that his hair was a reddish tint, the whiskers were gone, and he did not look very happy. In an instant, Shikamaru knew. His thoughts about the Emperor being connected to Konoha were correct. He had no idea that in his wildest dreams, that the knucklehead, hyperactive, boisterous ninja who once proclaimed that he was going to be Hokage was now the Emperor of the unified West. That and the fact that Naruto had beaten down most of the Konoha 11 and several clan heads, himself included. Gaara's sand crept from his nearby gourd, Yahiko had his sword drawn, while Konan retrieved a paper shuriken. But Naruto ordered them to stay their weapons. I knew it. It had to be someone connected to Konoha. I never thought it would be you, Shikamaru whispered. Naruto turned to Hinata, his expression smug. I told you, Haim. Brilliant, but lazy. Leave it to Inara to figure out who I am. It was only a matter of time. The Emperor? You. Tsunade croaked, still in disbelief. Turning to Konan, he said, tell the Godime who we are. His Imperial Majesty, Emperor of the Unified West, the Crimson Fury of the Empire, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Konan deadpanned. And his wife, the second Fox Sage, Empress Consort Hinata Namikaze. Namikaze. Now Tsunade looked like she was going to be sick. Oh, God, Minato. Kushina. Your son, they banished your son. Catches on quick, doesn't she? Hinata quipped as she slid Naruto's arm around her waist. Shikamaru looked on uncomfortably, as he already knew. After all, his father did tell him following Sasuke's visit. Gak. Naruto croaked as he was caught in a bear hug, his face buried in between Tsunade's chest, his arms flapping wildly in a comical fashion, which got a good laugh from Hinata, Gaara, Konan and Yahiko. Naruto. I am so sorry. The council wanted to execute you, but I managed to override it to banishment. Please forgive me. Please. Tsunade choked out, thankful that her godson was still alive. I don't think he can breathe, Katami pointed out. Tsunade saw that Naruto was starting to turn blue, and released him. Oh, sorry. She apologized. Hinata then noticed that Shikamaru was looking very uncomfortable. Something you wish to share with us, Shikamaru? She asked. Naruto, now that he was freed, also noticed how Shikamaru was looking. You know something, don't you? He asked. He then took a guess as to why Shikamaru looked like he was about to bolt from the room. The vote for my banishment was unanimous. The civilian council should have no influence with the shinobi. How did the civilian side pull it off? Tsunade turned to Shikamaru. Well, Gaara had one eyebrow raised Spock style, while Katami had her arms folded under her chest. Even Konan and Yahiko were just as curious as to what Shikamaru had to say. Dad's gonna kill me for this, Shikamaru thought. Sighing, he told them the truth. My father told me, after you had fought Sasuke following the Suna Chunin exams. You called it right, Hinata. The shinobi side had no intention of banishing Naruto. They were going to banish Sasuke instead, but certain people saw otherwise. The plot to banish you was spearheaded by 5 people: Danzo Shimura, Koharu Udatane, Hanmura Mitokado, Asuna Haruno, and Hiyashi Hyuga. Hinata's eyes narrowed before changing from their usual lavender to a dark violet. Tsunade's right eye twitched. A vein was pulsing in Naruto's forehead. The civilian side was easy to convince, Shikamaru continued. Asuna is the head of the Konoha Mercantile Guild, so it was no hard task in getting them on her side, since most of them supported the Uchiha. I also heard that she paid a hefty bonus to the civilian side of the council once the banishment order came down. Danzo, on the other hand, he approached the shinobi clan heads one by one save for Hyuga and gave them an ultimatum: vote in the favor of the banishment, or he would have their children kidnapped and forcibly enlisted into his root Anbu. If they resisted, then they would be killed, along with their parents. As to your clan, Dad told me that as well, that you were his son. Minato and my old man were longtime friends, as were Inochi and Shuza. When Danzo came with his ultimatum, They betrayed Minato's memory by protecting us. Naruto looked at Shikamaru long and hard for a moment. Then he turned to Katami. The Nine Tails was known for easily spotting lie from truth, which was useful to Naruto in the days of the Unification War. The redhead nodded in the positive. He's telling the truth. Not even Inara could lie convincingly to save his life. Konan shook her head in disbelief. Naruto had told her about him being banished. But now, this places everything in a new light. It was love that drove them to betray one of their own, the Bluenet said. For the lives of their children, they banished a hero. Even Gaara was furious. Not even his relations with his father was this bad, and he was the one who had Shikaku sealed inside his gut. Disgraceful. Tsunade, on the other hand, was seeing red. Danzo's dead, she seethed. Danzo, those two fleshbags. Haruno, Hiashi, all of them. Get in line, Naruto snapped, his eyes changing from blue to gold. I'll kill them myself. Danzo and his root, Hiashi and any Hyuga, main or cadet branch, that gets in my way. Neji, Hanabi, I'll snap the necks of those two old fools and see whether or not Asuna Haruno can shit gold. Yahiko raised one hand. Can we help? He asked, itching to get in on the battle. No one screwed with his family. Gladly, Naruto replied. Why stop there? Maybe I'll let Katami finish off what she started. See if anyone is willing to seal her inside their gut. Katami gave the Emperor a fanged grin. Sure, the battle for Suna was fun, since she got to rip out Madara's heart and got involved in some good old-fashioned wholesale destruction, but even she could enjoy destroying Konoha once and for all. Willingly, this time. Wait. Naruto's rant was cut off by Hinata. The Emperor turned to his consort. What is it, Hinata? Hinata's eyes turned back to normal. There is another way to destroy Konoha. Unleashing the Imperial Army, that's too easy. There are many ways to destroy a town. But to break its will and destroy it from the inside, that is how you truly destroy your enemies. Go on, Naruto said as he deactivated the Fox Eye. After you were banished, any and all alliances and trade agreements Konoha had through you were terminated almost immediately, Hinata said. The Fire Lord had cut Konoha's military aid by half. By the time I left, the shinobi were one step away from declaring civil war on the civilians. That much is true, Shikamaru confirmed. Once you were banished, Haruno and the civilian council pretty much thought that it can interfere in shinobi matters. Hiashi and Danzo had both reprimanded her twice. You want me to provoke a civil war? Naruto asked. Hinata shook her head. I was thinking of something a bit more subtle. Konoha's might is backed by its shinobi. Take away that equation, and Konoha will be crippled even more. Naruto thought about it for a moment. Okay, Hinata, you have my attention. Continue. The best way to break Konoha's power is to grant the clan heads and their families asylum within the empire. Nara, Akamaiki, Yamanaka, Sarutobi, Inuzuka, as well as any high-ranking Junin and Chunin who support the Godime. This way, you can irreversibly cripple Konoha's military power without drawing your sword. Naruto thought about it for a moment. The only way a hidden shinobi village can stay just as that if they have a certain quota of ninja as their main military. If Konoha's military is reduced to the point where they cannot replace their numbers. Shikamaru finished the thought. Then Konoha would no longer be a ninja village, nor it would be recognized as one of the 5 great shinobi villages. Konoha will pretty much self-destruct from the ensuing chaos. Or better yet, the ensuing factions will weaken the village even further with the inevitable civil war, since they are a lot like Kumo and Iwa, united in their hatred of you. Danzo, Asuna, the 2 advisors and Hiashi are all jockeying for the leader's role of Konoha, and will not be subservient to the other. What about the Hyuga? Naruto asked. Hinata frowned. All of the main branch support Hiashi and Hanabi. I will never forgive the main branch for what they had done to me. As for the cadet branch, I'm willing to show them mercy. Shikamaru was surprised to see the anger in Hinata. Even he knew that she had gotten a raw deal with the whole caged bird seal fiasco. Yikes. Very troublesome. Reminds me of Mom. Naruto thought about it for a moment. With the exception of the Hyuga and a sizable number of Chunin and Junin, the majority of Konoha's shinobi forces were loyal to the Hokage, Ibiki included. And Hinata was right. Konoha would be crippled if more than half of the shinobi force abandoned the village. And if Konoha attacked Wave, Mist or even the Pakera branches, he could just simply unleash the Nine Tails upon the village, or destroy it himself. Or wipe out the remaining shinobi force loyal to Danzo and the Hyuga, then let Katami raze the village to the ground. Your proposal has merit, Hinata, the Emperor conceded. If the main shinobi clans are innocent in this mess, then I will not harm them. But, if they seek redemption, they must prove worthy of it. We'll talk about this later. Hinata nodded, while Shikamaru breathed out a sigh of relief. The former Konoha genin then turned to Tsunade. I know it will be hard, but do not make a move against the conspirators. Danzo is especially dangerous, not because of his root Anbu, but because he is not as crippled as most people think. What do you mean? Tsunade asked. The bandages on his face are concealing a Sharingan, Naruto explained. He also has a mechanical arm retrofitted with at least a dozen more, probably taken from the Uchiha clan after Itachi killed most of them. I know because I've seen them during our confrontation at the Fire Temple. Danzo's also plan on making a play for the Hokage's seat, this he also verified to me at the temple. Tsunade nodded. She then asked the question that was on her mind. So it was you all along. You retrieved the Jinchuriki and beaten most of Konoha's clan heads and Junin. It was me, Naruto replied. Why? Naruto tossed a glance to Shikamaru. The slacker and his teammates thought that I had nearly killed Asuma. My targets were Hidan and Kazuku, for what they did to Chiraku. The warrior monk, Asuma sensei told us about him, Shikamaru said. They both served together as part of the Fire Lord's Guard. Naruto nodded. After I was banished, he offered me a place to stay for the night while I gathered my strength, the Emperor explained. He was one of few that had showed me kindness. When I came back during the inspection tour of the Pakera houses, I decided to visit him, only to find that Hidan and Kazuku had killed him for the bounty on his head. Asuma was just lucky that I decided to stop Hidan from killing him. Then you three show up and the rest is history. I kinda looked at beating down Konoha's elite as a twisted form of closure. Can you imagine the reactions of those who lost to me, the demon of Konoha, the dead last of the Konoha 11? No argument there, Shikamaru muttered, but was still loud enough for the others to hear. Meanwhile, the bodies of the 5 paths of pain, Deidara, Sasori, Kisame Hoshigaki, Nagato, which had been recovered by the Imperial forces, Itachi Uchiha and Madara Uchiha were located in a deserted home, laid out in a row, under heavy guard from both Suna and the Imperial forces. Only Sasuke Uchiha and one other person was allowed inside. Sasuke chose Kakashi. The sole remaining member of Cell 7 was silent as he looked at the body of his brother. For such a long time, he was obsessed with the idea of killing his brother. Now, Itachi was dead, slain by the Emperor himself. I really don't know if I should send him a thank you card or try and kick his ass, Sasuke thought. Sasuke thought of nothing but revenge for the longest time. Now, he felt empty, as if he didn't know what to do. His road of revenge had led to the destruction of Cell 7. Naruto was banished for bringing him back and no one knew where he was at, and now, Sakura was a certified sociopath who tried to eliminate Ino. He felt a hand on his shoulder. Kakashi was behind him. Are you okay? Sasuke sighed. Honestly, I don't know. Killing Itachi was the only thing on my mind for so long. Now, I don't know what to think anymore. Kakashi remained silent as he looked at the body of Itachi Uchiha. Back at the Case Tower. Tsunade and Shikamaru had just found out that Katami was in fact the nine-tailed fox in human form. Impossible. You broke the seal. The slug princess gasped while the redhead looked rather smug. I did, Naruto replied. To prove it, he showed her his stomach. No seal. That and Katami showing off her tail cinched it for the both of them. Hinata gave Tsunade a quick recap of the events, from the origin of the tailed beasts to her training under Katami as the third Fox Sage. Fox Sage, huh, and Mito and Kushina were the first two? Tsunade asked, sounding impressed. Not bad, Hinata. Not bad at all. She looked at the rings on their fingers. How long you two have been married? 3 months, Naruto replied, while Hinata beamed proudly. The people love her. I'll bet, Tsunade said. So what about the other Jinchuriki? I intercepted them, Yugito, Roshi, Han, Utakata, B and Fu. Killer B. A's brother. How did you manage to pull that off? A and B were overthrown by a new Odo-backed Raikage a year earlier. I rescued them from the Kumo Anbu and offered them sanctuary. When I rescued Yahiko and Konan from the Akatsuki, they told me about Madara's plans for world domination, Operation Tasuki no Mi. Shikamaru blinked. Eye of the Moon. What's that? This time, it was Konan and Yahiko who laid out Madara's scheme, and how Naruto had put a stop to it by retrieving the Jinchuriki. Madara was present during the final battle, and it was Katami that had slain the supposedly immortal Uchiha. Naruto was credited for killing the 5 paths of pain, as well as slaying Sasuke's older brother. The news was already spreading throughout the east of the Akatsuki's destruction, and the emperor was given a new nickname, the Akatsuki Killer. But then, something that Naruto had said had caught Tsunade's attention. Wait, what you said about Odo backing the new Raikage, that means? Naruto nodded. Yup. It means that Orochimaru is planning to raze Konoha to the ground yet again. This time around, I'm not going to risk my neck for a village who worse my father, yet banish the son for doing his job. Orochimaru has installed a puppet cage in Kumo. Off Tsunade and Shikamaru's surprised expressions, he explained, my intelligence division keeps me informed of all the goings-on in the east. Who would suspect humble merchants from the Pakera merchant house as intelligence officers? The Pakera house is just a front, Shikamaru asked. No, it's a genuine mercantile guild, Hinata explained. The Pakera houses in the fire capital, Kumo, and Iwa house the intelligence networks. After all, no one would suspect that a couple of merchants are spies for the West. And Captain Asahina? Tsunade asked, remembering the encounter with the former Junin, Pakera merchant. She's also part of the network of spies I have here, Naruto replied. But Asahina cannot be in Konoha all of the time. I need eyes in Konoha. He turned to Shikamaru. And you're it, Nara. Me. A spy. The shadow ninja blinked. Forget troublesome. It's a pain in the ass. Forget it. He's perfect, Hinata seconded. He's a slacker and he's lazy. No one would suspect Shikamaru passing on information to Captain Asahina. Tsunade and Shizune can't since Danzu's probably has the both of them watched. But Shikamaru's perfect. Do I have a choice in the matter? Shikamaru whined. No, Tsunade replied. Shikamaru, I am ordering you to work with Captain Asahina whenever she arrives in Konoha. In any case, the others will think that you have a crush on her. I know you are very much risking your life by telling us the truth about why Naruto was banished, but the clans need some sort of an insurance policy. She turned to Naruto. You will keep your word. You will grant the clans asylum when the time comes. Naruto nodded. Furthermore, you will not tell no one that you have seen me here. In any case, tell them that you did gain an audience with the Emperor, and that I am safe back west, and that I have severed all ties with Konoha. As long as the others are in the dark, Danzo and the others are none the wiser. Tsunade and Shikamaru nodded. I'll have a sit down with the Fire Lord and explain what is happening, Naruto said. He already dislikes Konoha for what they had done to me. He won't refuse my request. And now, it's time for the both of you to leave. He undid the soundproof seal. Gaara, can you have two of your Junin escort Tsunade and Shikamaru out of the tower? The leader of Suna nodded. Minutes later, two Suna Junin arrived. Gaara gave them their orders. Escort Lady Hokage and her entourage out of the city. The two ninja nodded and performed their duty. Suna gates, minutes later. Tamari noticed that something was wrong when she and Maru had escorted the Konoha ninja from the site where the slain Akatsuki members were located back to the city gates. Shikamaru and Tsunade were not with them. Before she could order a squad of Suna ninja to round up the two missing ninja, two Suna ninja appeared via Shunshin. With them were Shikamaru and Tsunade. Orders from your brother, the male Junin said. The Konoha ninja are to be ejected from the village, effective immediately. The Konoha ninja winced. Gaara still mistrusted the leaf after all this time. Meanwhile, several imperial troops carried out the bodies of the dead Akatsuki members, and fed them to the flames of the pyre. Let's go, Tsunade said. There's nothing we can do here. As the Konoha ninja departed from Suna, Sasuke approached Tsunade. Did you get a chance to meet with the Emperor? He asked. I did. What did he say? Was Naruto here? He was, Tsunade replied, but he went back west with a Pakara caravan. From the look of things, he has long since wants nothing to do with the leaf, she added, twisting the knife, reminding him that it was his fault that because of his actions, that Konoha was in its present state. No big loss, Lady Hokage, Kakashi interjected, both him and Anko having overheard the conversation between the buxom Hokage and the last Uchiha. He was a dead last, anyway. He would not have made it in this world. Let the Emperor take him. That earned him a bone-chilling stare from Sasuke that would have made Itachi proud. You're such an asshole, Hitaki, Sasuke snarled before storming forward. What did I do? Kakashi said. As much as I hate to admit, I gotta agree with the Uchiha, Anko said. You are an asshole, Hitaki. That dead last had more guts than you and the Banshee put together. And we kicked him out of Konoha because he done his job. And where were you when the banishment order came? You were among the people who condemned him. Some sensei you were. Surprising enough, Anko was one of the few who had a grudging respect for the banished ninja. Only thing was when the banishment order came down, she was in the hospital following a training accident in the infamous Forest of Death. When she heard the news, she was furious. The black eye and broken jaw she gave Kakashi bared witness to that, earning her a nod of approval from Tsunade. Now listen. Don't say anything else, Tsunade added, cutting off Kakashi's reply. Just don't. Kakashi was silent for the rest of the way back to Konoha. Snafu's notes. Despite the minor number of flames, the story is progressing very nicely. I'm surprised no one hasn't picked up on the numerous references I made in the story, such as the Hall of Sovereigns, where the Imperial Council meet, that I picked up from Gears of War. The Laja Mountains, for those who grew up with Nintendo, came from Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos. And for this chapter, I hawked in a Resident Evil 5 reference. 5 days after Kakashi's party had left for the Western Empire, the Konoha Council received an unwanted guest in the form of an envoy from Oto. Escorted by guards enhanced with the cursed seal and ready to attack at a moment's notice, Kabuto Yakushi scanned the faces of the Konoha High Council, both shinobi and civilian. The Konoha Anbu stood close by, along with several of Danzu's root Anbu, katanas drawn. The right-hand man of Orochimaru smirked to himself. Even Konoha had to follow the rules when it came to visiting diplomats, and despite being from the Sound, Kabuto was no exception to the rule. What are you doing here? Tsunade demanded from her seat. Now, Kabuto chided. There's no need to be rude, Lady Hokage. I bring greetings from your former teammate, Lord Orochimaru, as well as a message. In 3 weeks' time, Lord Orochimaru will return to Konoha, and finish what he had started, along with the Tsuchikage and the Raikage backing him up as support. In other words, this is a formal declaration of war on the leaf. The will of fire will extinguish your master. One civilian shouted. Konoha is the strongest of the shinobi nations. Kabuto scoffed. Konoha is a disease. Face it, you basically alienated each and every single ally you had when you banished your trump card. Oh, yes, Lord Orochimaru knows that you have banished the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Because of that, no other village will not come to your aid. In any case, Lord Orochimaru and his allies from Stone and Lightning are hereby giving you a chance to save your pathetic village. Orochimaru offering terms. How thoughtful of him, Tsunade sneered. Name your terms. 4 simple requests. No, make that demands, Kabuto replied, knowing full well that Konoha would not accept the surrender offer. First off, Konoha is to surrender Sasuke Uchiha to Oto. Second, Kuma wants a Hyuga. Not one with the caged bird seal. At that, he paused so that he could face Hiashi when he told him of the demand. But one from the main branch. Your remaining daughter, Hanabi. In a rage, Hiashi was out of his seat. You will not take my daughter. He bellowed as Suma Inuzuka, Asuma Sarutobi, and Shikaku Nara restrained him. Kabuto ignored Hiashi's outburst. Third, Iwa wants the forbidden scroll of sealing. As it was the property of Minato Namikaze, Iwa wants the scroll so that they can destroy it, and with it the legacy of Konoha's yellow flash. And finally, Konoha must recognize the sound as a major shinobi power, while at the same time, step down as one of the 5 major villages. With a roar, Hiashi threw off the other Junin and despite his bad leg, charged at Kabuto, who made no move as Hiashi grabbed him and was preparing to turn his brain into jelly from a Jiyuken strike. You kill me, Lord Orochimaru will find out, Kabuto threatened. Pulling down his shirt so that the shoulder is exposed, he showed Hiashi the cursed seal, which was activated. Yes, strike me down, and you will condemn your daughter, your clan, and all of Konoha to the sword by the end of the day. With a growl, Hiashi released Kabuto, who merely adjusted his clothing. Good, Lord Hyuga. No one doesn't have to die today. To Tsunade, he said, these are our terms. The choice is yours, destruction or sacrifice. He mockingly bowed to Tsunade. You have 3 weeks to make your choice. Failure to comply, well, you know the consequences. Imperial Complex, the morning after Jiraiya's visit. Naruto was in the training hall of the Imperial Complex. He was alone. A day had passed since Jiraiya's visit and Naruto had a lot on his mind. Which is why he was meditating in the dojo at 6 in the morning. He had long since closed the book on Konoha. His life as a Konoha shinobi was long over. He was even more powerful than the Hokage, and both him and Hinata were seen as heroes to the people of the unified West. And yet, half of him wants to protect Konoha, while the other half wants to see it fall. The proverbial angel and devil were on his shoulders. A Ryo for you thoughts. Naruto opened his eyes. Kneeling in front of him, in his robes of state, was the Sandaime himself, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Sarutobi sensei, Naruto whispered. You seem troubled, the old man said. You can say that, Naruto replied. But I got to know. You knew that my father was the Yellow Flash, yet you kept that from me. Why? Hiruzen sighed. I suppose you have every right to be mad at me, Naruto. But I did it to protect you. Had Iwa found out that their most hated enemy had a son, then you would be in danger. So I had you take on your mother's last name in order to throw them off. I guess that's understandable, Naruto said, his rising anger dissipating. Dad was pretty infamous during the last Shinobi War. And now you're trying to avoid a 4th Shinobi War by decapitating the head of the snake, Hiruzen said. You may not be Hokage, but you are a true leader. The people here look up to you and see you as something that Konoha has failed to do, as a hero. And sometimes being a leader means you have to make the most difficult of choices. And here, I thought paperwork was bad, Naruto sniped. That's what the shadow clones are for, Hiruzen said as he lit his pipe. I wish I had figured that out sooner. You may hate Konoha, but you are still divided over what to do. Naruto nodded. I can just as easily do nothing, and let Orochimaru raise the leaf to the ground and kill everyone, or rescue the clans and grant them asylum. Shikamaru told me why the clans betrayed me and voted for the banishment. All because of Danzo. The elder Sarutobi sighed. In some cases, I agree with you. The corruption within Konoha is far too deep. Minato had planned on reforming the civilian council and to strip it of its power, but those plans had died with him when the Nine Tails attacked. You once asked me what was the will of fire. Remember what I told you? That it was the life philosophy of Granny Tsunade's grandfather, Hashirama Senju, the Shadaime Hokage, Naruto replied. The will of fire states that every ninja, from the lowliest of genin to even the most experienced junin must believe, cherish and fight for the village's sake, just as their predecessors had done before them. The will of fire gives the ninja the strength to fight against overwhelming odds, while at the same time builds willpower and strength of character. It also symbolizes the hopes and dreams of the previous generation being passed on to the next. Whether you believe me or not, you are the very essence of what the Shadaime had fought for, the old man pointed out. Even when you were banished, you never lost your way. The will of fire is all but diminished in Konoha, but it lives here. It lives in the people that you have united. It lives in your wife. And it lives in you. Minato and Kushina would have been proud of you, had they lived. Naruto smiled. Thanks, old man. I know what to do now. I know that what I am doing is the right choice. Naruto opened his eyes. He was still in the training hall, but this time around, he was alone. A vision, he wondered as he rose from his kneeling position. From the look of things, he had been inside the training hall for an hour. That and his knees were sore. Hinata and Katami would be awake soon and today was an important day. Hall of Sovereigns, Imperial Capital. Naruto Namikaze sat at the head of the table. Hinata Namikaze sat at his left, Wila was on his right. Katami sat next to Hinata. The gathered council members sat at their usual positions, only with a slight difference. Seated on the left side, was the Suna representative, Tamari. Sister to the Kazekage Gaara and Kankuro, she was chosen by Gaara to act as Suna's representative while in the west. The Suna consulate was located several blocks away from the Imperial Palace and was guarded by a garrison of Suna ninja. On the right side, was the adopted brother of the Mizukage, Takeshi Terumi. Takeshi was a former ninja who was forced to retire due to injury. The Mist consulate was located on the same block as the Suna consulate, and guarded by a garrison of Mist ninja as well. As part of the alliance with both Mist and Suna, the Imperial Empire also had two consulates set up in both villages. The Imperial representatives were hand-picked by the Emperor himself. So far, none in the East knew about the secret alliance between the three of them. Aside from the Imperial Council, Naruto had requested that the Jinchuriki, save for Gaara, who was still in Suna, should be present for this meeting. Standing before the Emperor and the Imperial Council were the 6 Jinchuriki which Naruto had rescued. First up was Yugito Ni, container to the two-tailed monster cat, formerly of Kumo, and commander of the elite all-female fighting force known as the Hellcat Unit. Because of Naruto's actions years earlier, she was his biggest supporter, as well as having fought alongside him during the Unification Wars. Her base of operations was in the Imperial capital. Next to Yugito, was Roshi, former Iwa ninja and container to the four-tailed monkey, and his partner, the brooding Han, also from Iwa and the container to the five-tailed dolphin horse. Imagine their shock that the young emperor who had saved them from a gruesome fate was the son of Iwa's most hated enemy. But once Naruto had told them his story of how he came to be the emperor, the older men could easily sympathize with his plight. And given the choice of trusting the son of the Yellow Flash or facing certain death at the hands of the Akatsuki, the two ex-Iwa ninja chose the former. After all, the old saying that the enemy of my enemy is my friend does ring true. While Han made his home in the Laja Mountains, he serves as a guardian for one of the mountain towns there. Roshi was the leader of a shinobi village in the southern region, training and practicing his arts. Next to Han were Utakata, former missing ninja from Mist and Jinchuriki to the six-tailed slug, and Fu, formerly of Waterfall and the container to the seven-tailed horned beetle. While Fu worked with the Empire's spy network, Utakata had decided on a more peaceful life, training his student, Hotato. Utakata had fought Naruto once when he was younger, but even he owed the Emperor his life for saving him from the Akatsuki. Fu, on the other hand, was the only member of the Jinchuriki to seek the Emperor out, having enough of her hellish life back in Waterfall. She found him in Suna, where he was a guest of Gaara while Suna hosted the Chunin exams, and requested that he take her with him. Naruto agreed. Last, was A's brother, Killer Bee, the Jinchuriki to the eight-tailed giant ox. While A served on as Naruto's senior advisor, B was assigned to look after the trading town of Rara, located at the base of the Laja Mountains. Like his brother, B owed Naruto big time for saving both their lives. Following Jiraiya's visit the previous day, Naruto had convened an emergency meeting of the Council and of the Jinchuriki, nicknamed the Imperial Six. Unlike the East, the Jinchuriki were seen as genuine heroes, protectors of the people, something that was foreign to Han and Fu, given their past experiences back home. But they warmed up to their new status of protector instead of pariah. For the past year and a half, Naruto and Hinata had came up with a plan to neutralize both Konoha and Orochimaru without destabilizing the East. Using Hinata's original plan as the base, Naruto and Hinata had added on to it. The spy network inside Earth and Wind Country were quite useful in gaining information in regards to the movements of Kumo and Iwa's shinobi forces. Orochimaru did not step foot out of Odo, leaving his right-hand man to act as proxy. Apparently, the snake was occupied with burning Konoha to the ground once and for all, and dismissed the Pakara merchants as a threat, allowing them to conduct their business in peace. That would prove to be his fatal flaw. It was shortly after their first wedding anniversary that word came from the Pakara branch in Earth Country. A new Tsuchikage was in power, and he too was a puppet ruler, Orochimaru pulling the strings from behind the scenes. Fu herself had verified the reports and passed them on to both Roshi and Han. The two Jinchuriki had respected Onoki a great deal and were outright furious upon hearing of his assassination. With the death of Onoki, Roshi and Han's last known link to Iwa was destroyed. The plan was then revised when it became clear that Orochimaru had two powerful shinobi nations under his control. The way to stability became clear for Naruto and Hinata: sabotage the fragile alliance between Orochimaru and the two villages. If Orochimaru was killed in the ensuing crossfire, it would be a bonus. Naruto brought meeting to order. Council members, Representatives Subaku and Terumi, fellow Jinchuriki, I thank you for coming on such short notice. So what's the problem, sire? Lady Ahara asked. Yeah, Chief, Eiji Kibagami said. You got all of us up here cooling our heels. That earned him an elbow to the side from the Chiba clan head. An old acquaintance of mine has passed on grave news. There is war brewing in the elemental countries, a 3-on-1 attack on Konoha. The reports I've received from Kumo and Iwa have all but verified it. Konoha, Lady Ahara parroted. The same place that has banished you. If anything, you should just let the place burn for the slights against you. Even a blind man can see that you are not the Nine Tails Reborn. Otherwise, you would have long since destroyed that place. The other members nodded at her statement. Believe me when I say that the thought crossed my mind, Naruto replied mildly, but my source told me that I owe my life to the Fire Lord, as he was the one who stopped the Konoha Council from placing me into the bingo book, as well as sending Hunter Ninja after me. That I already know, since the Fire Lord told me himself, but he remained silent as to who was the one who kept me out of the book. No, my main concern is our allies in Suna and Mist. They may be dragged into this war against Kumo, Oto and Iwa. But my brother is not allied to Konoha, Tamari pointed out. Not after what they had done to you. Why would Oto, Kumo and Iwa attack Suna? You of all people know that the snake is petty, and will not let grudges go, Hinata explained. That and since Suna despises Orochimaru for killing your father, Orochimaru may try and destroy Suna before it can ally itself with Konoha. Tamari knew exactly what he was talking about. You think that the hubby would attack Suna before moving on to Konoha as payback for botching the invasion 8 years ago? If I was him, I would, Naruto replied. I'll send word to Gaara and tell him to be on his guard. The same with Terumi as well. If the snake attacks either one of them, then our consulates will be in danger. Excuse me, sire, but who is this snake you are talking about? Ryuji Shinzen asked. Naruto replied by creating a shadow clone in the middle of the room and placing it under a henge to make it look like Orochimaru. This is the person who is spearheading the invasion, the snake sage, Orochimaru. One of the 3 legendary sages, the others being the toad sage, Jiraiya and the slug sage, and current Godime Hokage, Tsunade Senju. All 3 trained under my mentor, the late Sandaime Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, but Orochimaru held the most promise. He was also the most corrupt of the 3. Sarutobi found out that Orochimaru was conducting illegal experiments involving the cursed seal, as well as trying to find the secrets to immortality. Orochimaru escaped, and after a brief stint as part of the Akatsuki, seized control of Oto and Rice Field Country, changing the name to Sound. The Emperor paused for a moment. This man killed Sarutobi during the Chunin exams 8 years ago. Every 3 years, he needs a new body in order to live forever. With the snake, it's always personal for him. He may have either Iwa or Kumo attack Suna and Mist to knock them out of the war before moving on to Konoha. The snake has a plan, B said. Forget destroying Konoha. He wants to rule the eastern land. That could be a possibility, Han said, stroking his chin in deep thought. He could also subjugate the smaller villages like Rain or Waterfall to his side. Given the fact that most of us are either shunned or have death sentences on our heads, Orochimaru can also see us as a threat. You're thinking about going to war, aren't you? Sanshi asked. Not to save Konoha, Naruto replied. I was thinking of something a bit more subtle. As you already know, I have a prior agreement with Tsunade Senju, as she is not only my godmother, but also the granddaughter of my great-grandmother, Mito Uzumaki. I will not save Konoha. I will cripple it by other means, while at the same time, eliminate the threat of Oto without raising a sword. Iwa and Kumo may have puppet cages that answer to Orochimaru, but the alliance is still a weak one at best, Hinata continued. The Cloud and the Stone have always been bitter rivals, but are only united in their hatred towards the Leaf. Our original plan was to in fact unleash Katami upon Konoha to finish what she had started, but after what we had learned in regards to my husband's banishment, we decided on a second course of action. Which is? Lady Ahara prodded. Operation Susanoo's Wrath, Naruto replied. In the Pakara branch of both Earth and Lightning Country are 2 sleeper cells consisting of members from Zabuza's Demon Brigade and Yugito's Hellcat unit. On my command, the cells will attack both Iwa and Kumo in a sneak attack designed to eliminate the senior members of Iwa and Kumo without eliminating the cages themselves. It was a protocol which Naruto and Hinata had been planning on ever since the Suna Akatsuki War. They knew that Orochimaru was a threat to the region and both had planned accordingly. Using the spy network in the east, they had gotten detailed accounts of Iwa and Kumo's shinobi forces. It's a brilliant stroke of genius, if I may say so myself, Yugito added with pride in her voice. The cell in Earth Country will be disguised as Kumo Ninja and the cell in Lightning will be disguised as Iwa Ninja. Kibagami put the dots together. And when the shit hits the fan, one side will blame the other, and Orochimaru can't hold the alliance together if the two villages end up fighting each other, he guffawed. And you hope that Oto would be either wiped out and Orochimaru killed, or crippled to the point that he would never be a serious threat. He cackled. You were always a sneaky little shit, Chief. Glad to see you haven't lost your touch. Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment, Naruto replied, used to the older samurai's foul-mouthed tendencies. This, coming from the same guy that came up with a thoughtful, albeit crude description about his wife's demeanor, the only thing bigger than her tits is her heart. That comment earned him a whack on the head by Kasumi Ehara. What about Konoha? Haruka Shinzen asked. I've been in contact with the fire daimyo and he agrees with me. The village is beyond hope, beyond saving, Naruto replied. As per our agreement with Senju, I will allow the shinobi clans and any ninja that support the Godime asylum within the empire. Someone once said that no one is beyond redemption. I will put that to the test. Hayate Okajima rubbed his chin. And by allowing a sizable number of ninja to resettle here would all but cripple Konoha's ninja forces overall. Maybe to the point that they would no longer be recognized as a hidden village. He smiled. Boss, have I ever told you I like how you think? Actually, the idea of offering the Konoha Ninja Asylum was her idea, Naruto said, gesturing to Hinata. I can't take credit for something my wife has done. He pulled out a second report. One of General Kazuma's men stationed at the Pakara merchant house in the fire capital had sent this to me. Orochimaru has sent in an envoy to Konoha to negotiate terms of surrender to Konoha, led by his right-hand man, Kabuto Yakushi. Now would be a good time to strike, Sanshi suggested. While the envoy is away, you should give the order. There's no need to, Naruto replied. I gave the order yesterday. Operation Susanoo's Wrath will be executed as per to our orders come midnight, when the Unification Festival concludes. The spy network has gotten the routines of both Iwa and Kumo down to a T. After all, no one will ever suspect the Empire of pulling off such a feat. Is there any other business? Katami asked. There was none. We will see all of you at the Unification Ball, Hinata said. You are dismissed. The council and the Jinchuriki piled out of the room. Naruto and Hinata remained behind, the former thinking about his encounter with Jiraiya. Flashback. Hall of Sovereigns, the previous day. If anyone was present, they would have seen the Emperor of the Western Empire on the floor, laughing his ass off at the fact that Jiraiya was 1 second away from having a heart attack for being in the same room as the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Hinata, in the meantime, looked amused at her husband's antics, as well as the fact that the Toad Sage was about to have a coronary. You, the Nine Tails. Jiraiya managed to get out. How? How did you get out of the seal? Easy. The kit here broke it, Katami replied, giving the man a fanged grin. She then turned to Naruto, who had finally gotten himself under control. Good thing that the room had a soundproof seal, otherwise anyone who had entered would have been greeted with the sight of the Western Emperor laughing his head off. You okay there, kid? You almost made pervy Sage shit his pants, Naruto cackled. Naruto, you know that this the nine-tailed demon fox, right? Jiraiya said cautiously. The same nine tails that turned Konoha into its personal stomping grounds. The one-year-old man sealed inside of you. Of course I know, Naruto replied, rising to his feet. He dusted himself off and took his seat. And for the record, the tailed beasts are not demons, as most people would think. As one would think, Katami is the most powerful of the Biju. She, along with several others, helped me in my quest of unifying the continent. The people here know about my past in Konoha and do not treat me like a monster. What do you know about Madara Uchiha? Katami asked the older man. Madara Uchiha, Jiraiya repeated. The same Madara who had fought Tsunade's grandfather for the position of Hokage. I thought he was dead. Katami shook her head. Hardly, she replied mildly. At least until 2 years ago. Madara was the leader of the Akatsuki. A sadistic smile crept across her face. That is until I tore out his heart and destroyed his eyes. It was because of his hatred that Madara had brainwashed me into attacking Konoha in an attempt to destroy it. Prior to that, Kushina Uzumaki was the Jinchuriki. Seeing as how Jiraiya was paling visibly at Katami's sadism, Naruto gave Jiraiya the entire story, with Hinata and Katami putting in their 2 cents. Naruto told Jiraiya about the first Jinchuriki to the 10-tailed beast, the 6-path sage, and of Naruto's connection to the Senju, to how upon his death, he split the power of the 10 tails into the 9 Jinchuriki and left the 10 tails body on the moon. Katami continued where Naruto had left off, about how the Akatsuki were hunting down the Jinchuriki and Madara's Eye of the Moon plan, and it was Nato who had reached out to his fellow Jinchuriki, offering them protection and asylum from the Akatsuki, save for Gaara, who was the Kazakage which led to the Akatsuki's full-scale invasion of Suna. While Katami was credited with killing Madara, Naruto was the one who had killed Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke's older brother, and had decimated Nagato, while Hinata had killed Deidara. Half of Suna was left in ruins, but in the end, all of the members of Akatsuki were wiped out. Jiraiya was impressed. Very impressed. Minato, if you had seen what your son has done, he thought wistfully. He is truly a leader. He then decided to get back on subject. Naruto, about Konoha. My answer still stands, Jiraiya. I will not aid Konoha, nor will I outright destroy it, but I will not give Orochimaru the pleasure of destroying it either, Naruto replied. But you just said. I know what I said. You didn't let me finish. I will not let Orochimaru destroy Konoha. I will simply cripple it instead. But, why? What would Tsunade say if she knew about this? Naruto smiled. Tsunade supports the idea, as does the Fire Lord. Jiraiya blinked. Huh, only 3 other people know that I am the Emperor, aside from you. The Fire Lord, Granny Tsunade and Shikamaru. The slacker. How did they find out? And Naruto told him how they stumbled upon Naruto's identity in the wake of the failed Akatsuki invasion of Suna. How no one would suspect Shikamaru is Naruto's inside man. And of how Danzo, Koharu, Hanmura, Asuna and Hiashi had orchestrated Naruto's banishment through bribery and blackmail. That pretty much made Jiraiya very angry. Naruto had never seen the super perv angry. But Jiraiya looked pissed enough to summon Gambunta and the rest of the toads and raise Konoha himself. And just how do you plan on dealing with Konoha and Orochimaru? Jiraiya asked. By turning Iwa and Kumo against one another and fracturing Orochimaru's alliance, Hinata replied. If they end up killing Orochimaru, then that's a bonus. Second, we allow the shinobi clans and any Chunin or Junin that support Tsunade asylum into the west, therefore crippling Konoha's shinobi force. And the Fire Lord, as it turns out, the Fire Lord has been making some plans of his own. He sees that Konoha is not worth saving. Once the exodus is complete, he will notify the Leaf that he will strip them of their remaining financial aid and strip them of their hidden village status. The Fire Lord has been secretly constructing a new hidden village near the capital for the past 5 years and is actively recruiting shinobi and civilian alike, mostly refugees and mercenary ninja looking for a new home. This time, he is making sure that the civilians do not get themselves involved in shinobi matters. And Konoha does not know about this. They will soon find out, after the Fire Lord notifies them of the change, Hinata said. The corruption in Konoha is too deep. This is the only way it can be stopped, by stripping it of its so-called honor and allowing a new breed of ninja to defend Fire Country. Clans hand-picked personally by the Fire Lord himself. Mist refugees with bloodlines, ninja from defunct villages, mercenary ninja and even samurai looking for a permanent home, the like, Naruto said. As long as they swear loyalty to the Fire Lord and follow the law, they can stay. I knew things were bad. Jiraiya shook his head. Do you have a timetable for when Tsunade will arrive with the others? I told her to wait 3 days after I dealt with Orochimaru and his alliance, then resign the seat of Hokage, Naruto replied. By that time, I will be ready to get the clans out of Fire Country. The Fire Daimyo's given us a 14-day window for the clans and ninja to make it to Wave Country, more than enough time. What about Kabuto? Jiraiya asked. Same as Orochimaru. He's also a credible threat, Naruto replied. Sooner or later, he will have to be dealt with. But first, we must cut off the head of the snake. My informants in the east has notified me that Kabuto is on his way to Konoha to deliver Orochimaru's ultimatum. By that time, the 2 sleeper cells in Earth and Lightning will strike. And you made sure that no one will suspect the Empire? Jiraiya asked, concerned with the risk that the Emperor and his wife were taking. Positive, Naruto replied. The sleeper cells are special Junin-level ninja, whose specialties are Genjutsu, Earth and Lightning Jutsu. All are veterans of the Unification Wars and they have been briefed on their mission. He smiled meanly. They can and will wipe the floor with Danzo and his root Anbu. That tough, huh? Hinata nodded. Very. By the time of the Unification Festival, Orochimaru will no longer be a threat, and soon, Konoha will fall. End flashback. Jiraiya had left Kimen City to prepare, leaving Naruto and Hinata to oversee the final preparations for Susanoo's wrath. Once everything was in place, the order was given, Hinata using a fox summon to deliver the classified messages to the sleeper cells in Earth and Lightning. Now, all they had to do was wait. Most of the day went by with Naruto and Hinata going through their paperwork for the rest of the morning, followed by lunch in the town. The Unified West were in the final preparations of the Unification Festival. On a boat, en route to the Western Empire. The Konoha team led by Captain Kakashi Hatake and Captain Kurenai Sarutobi traveled for 3 days, crossing the bridge into Wave Country. There, while in Wave, Kakashi received a cold reception from Tazuma and his family when Kakashi greeted them. Tazuma refused to allow them to enter his home, slamming the door in Kakashi's face. Come to think of it, the people of Wave Town were cold to them, as they were the first to drop their trade agreement with Konoha once their debt for the mission was paid. Dejected, but not deterred, Kakashi and the others boarded a Pakera merchant vessel heading for the west. After a brief layover in Tea Country, where the crew picked up supplies and tourists for the trip home, they were on their way to the west. It would be 4 more days before they would reach the imperial capital. The Konoha team only knew about the Emperor from either second-hand knowledge or from when Tsunade had ordered them to bring him in for questioning. He was a skilled fighter, as most of the ninja who had fought him could attest to that fact. And given that there were branches of the Pakera merchant houses in most of the villages, save for Konoha, but rather at the fire capital, the Emperor was very savvy when it came to business agreements. They had been out on missions before, but never this one of such great importance. No one in their group has ventured out of the elemental countries and into the west, and for good reason. But now, things had changed, as they were on a mission of great importance. Of course, sneaking in was a bad idea, but Kakashi took nothing to chance. The imperial capital loomed in the distance. The sun was starting to set as Kakashi and the others gazed in awe over the thriving port. Attention! We will be docking in 30 minutes, the first mate shouted as he moved along the deck. Upon docking, you will be asked to produce identification, so have your ID cards out and ready. Anyone who does not comply will be taken to jail for the night, and you will be sent back east the following morning. Let's not get arrested tonight, people. It looks very bad on my record. Kakashi Hatake was on deck, standing at the S's bow, watching as the port drew ever more closer. He was already in disguise, dressed as a tourist. He was unmasked, his Hittite gone, the Sharingan eye covered with a headband. The others are getting prepared, Kurenai said as she approached Kakashi from behind. Like Kakashi, she was also dressed incognito. Her hair was pulled back into a ponytail, while she used a genjutsu to change her eye color from red to brown. I never told anyone this, but I screwed up big time, Kakashi confessed. Being in the Anbu is a lot easier than taking on a squad of genin. Obito and Minato sensei would be ashamed as to how my team ended up. So what caused this change? Kurenai asked, curious. After we had left from Suna. Sasuke and Anko were both right. I am an asshole, Kakashi admitted. After returning back to Konoha, I had time to think about Naruto. And to tell you the truth, we did abandon him. I guess it took more than enough time to realize that I royally screwed up by focusing solely on Sasuke instead of the entire team. I just hope that we do see him again, if only to apologize for how I treated him, how we threw him away. The copycat ninja sighed. At least your team came out somewhat okay. Hinata's stronger from what I have heard about her encounters with her former clan, despite being labeled a missing nin. Kiba's on his way to becoming a special Junin, and Shino's expertise in recon and medicine is the best I've ever seen. And look at my team. Sakura's a certified sociopath, Sasuke hasn't spoken to me ever since the Suna Akatsuki War, and Naruto was banished for doing his job. Can't say that I haven't gotten out of this unscathed, Kurenai said. You were there when Konohamaru abandoned the village for Suna. Asuma took it pretty hard. In his mind, he sees this as failing Konohamaru's parents and the Sandaime. She looked out at the approaching port. If you ask my personal opinion about this, Konoha has fallen from grace for what they had done to Uzumaki. That kid was a hero, not the Fox Reborn. He didn't deserve to get screwed over the way he did. If he is here in the Empire, maybe we can see him again, to apologize for what we had done. From below deck, Ino, Kiba, Shino and Shikamaru emerged. Unlike the elder Junin, the younger ninjas simply removed their Junin flak vests and Hitai Atesh and used several sealing scrolls to hide them. Everyone ready? Kurenai asked. The younger ninja nodded, while Akamaru barked. The boat made its way into port. Once the boat was secured and the crew began to remove their cargo, the passengers disembarked. Walking up the harbor, they reached the gates that would allow them to enter into Kimen. However, as with Konoha, there were guards at the gates. One was immediately identified as a ninja, given by his flak vest, while the other was a samurai. The ninja was older than his counterpart, and the two men were chatting each other as Kakashi and the others approached. The ninja saw them coming. Caravan, citizen, pilgrim, tourist or. Kakashi did the talking. We're tourists from the east. We heard from some of our friends who had visited here before that the west is a pretty nice place for a vacation, and since our boss has given us some time off, we decided to come and visit, check out the sights. The ninja chuckled. Well, you guys came at the right time. You guys showed up during the week-long Unification Festival. We're celebrating the unification of the northern and southern regions of the unified West. As for attractions, we got a couple in the north. If you like to gamble, there's North Lajja town about 70 miles from here. The Lajja Mountains also has a nice hot springs resort. Then there's the Dragon Temple and gardens in the city, and the Imperial Palace. In the southern region, if you plan on staying that long, we hold an annual martial arts tournament in South Ichiyama. And there's the Tears Point Memorial. What's the Emperor like? Kurenai asked. For someone so young, he rules with great wisdom and patience, the samurai replied. He is skilled in the samurai arts as well as in the arts of ninjutsu. Aside from being a skilled fighter and master tactician, he is also a brilliant politician, charismatic and at the same time, cunning like a fox. We have been blessed to have such rulers, both the emperor and his wife, the empress consort. The emperor is married. Shino asked. Yes. They've been married for 2 years now. His wife was originally from the east as well, the samurai replied. A former heiress who was forsaken by her clan. She's nicknamed the Lady of War, given how she is a trained ninja who fought alongside the emperor during the Suna Akatsuki War. Beautiful, but deadly. Then there's the Prime Minister, the ninja replied. She's been with him ever since the Unification War, a red-headed woman with green eyes. She also trained the Empress Consort in the 6 months before their wedding. Both the Emperor and Empress Consort trust her with their lives. The Prime Minister herself is a skilled fighter and answers directly to the Emperor and Empress. Can anyone gain an audience with the Emperor? Ino asked. You can try, but not going to happen, the samurai said. But he does come down to the city for the festival. One thing about the Emperor is that he may be the ruler of the unified West, that doesn't stop him from having a good time with the common folk. But enough talk, can I see some identification before I can let you pass? Kakashi and the others handed their ID to the ninja. The ninja took down their names and handed them back to them. Upon asking for a map of Kimen City, the samurai produced one and handed it to Kurenai. Welcome to the unified West, and enjoy your stay, the ninja said cheerfully. Once Kakashi and the others were gone, the samurai went to perform another identification check on another visitor. The ninja, on the other hand, turned to a figure that was hiding in the shadows. General Kazuma, of the Shadow Company. The ninja, himself a member of the Shadow Company, excused himself and walked over to Kazuma. Report, the commander ordered calmly. Sir, 6 Konoha ninja posing as tourists has just entered the city, the ninja replied. He had worked at the Imperial Consulate in Fire Country and had recognized the ninja instantly, as the spy network in Fire Country kept detailed files on Konoha's finest. Kazuma nodded. Good work. I will inform the Emperor and his consort. Return to your post. The ninja bowed and returned to his duties, while Kazuma sank into the shadows. Imperial Complex, Hall of Sovereigns. Hinata Namikaze was on her way to the visitor's room, where her husband was already entertaining Yukie Fujikaze. The reason why she was running late was because she had a sparring session with a clone that had lasted a bit longer than expected. After a quick shower, Hinata was clad in a fresh indigo-colored ninja uniform, think Ayane's C1 from Dead or Alive 4, and was walking down the corridor. Lady Hinata. Hinata stopped and turned around. Kazuma rose from the shadows. General Kazuma, Hinata greeted with a nod of her head. What is it? There is a squad of Konoha ninja posing as tourists in the city, Kazuma replied. Hinata's eyes went wide. Konoha ninja, here in the capital. Kazuma nodded. It has been confirmed by one of my ninja at the harbor. 7 in total, all Junin level ninja. He then gave the Empress Consort detailed descriptions on the ninjas' appearances. Hinata nodded. I will notify my husband of this matter. Thank you, Kazuma. Kazuma bowed and decided to remain on standby for further orders. Inside the visitor's room, so the Toad Sage decided to drop by for a visit. Koyuki Kazuhana asked as she sipped on her glass of Western red wine. The spring daimyo, known by her screen name Yukie Fujikaze, was a frequent visitor to the Imperial Complex whenever she had time away from running Spring Country and working as an actress. I sure hope you didn't try and kill him, Naruto. The thought crossed my mind, Naruto replied mildly as he sipped on his own wine. But he's still alive. That's good to hear, Yukie replied. I would hate to see him die, after he convinced me to star in his Ika Ika movie. Naruto looked at the older woman as if she had grew a second head. Jiraiya did what? He convinced me to take the lead role for Ika Ika Paradise, the movie, Yukie repeated. Why? Is there something wrong? You have no idea, do you? What? That Jiraiya is some kind of pervert. No, Naruto replied. Once Yukie calmed down, Naruto dropped the hammer. He is a super pervert. His favorite hobbies include peeping inside the women's baths and checking out the hot springs. My personal nickname to him was Pervy Sage. Yukie raised an eyebrow. You're joking, right? I wish I was, Naruto replied. So, you and Hinata have been married for 2 years, and yet, you have no kids. Naruto sputtered on his wine. Yukie. That's personal. The spring daimyo grinned. Just remember, I call dibs on being the child's godmother. Yeah, Naruto grumbled just as Hinata entered the room. Almost immediately, Naruto caught the look on her face. Nada, what's wrong? Kazuma reports that a 6-man squad of Junin ninja from Konoha has entered the capital, Hinata said. Crunch. Yukie winced as she saw Naruto crush the wineglass in his hand, spilling wine all over his pants and onto the floor. Then she gasped. Konoha ninja, here. Who are they? Naruto demanded. Kurenai Sarutobi, Kakashi Hatake, Kiba Inuzuka, Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka and Shino Aburame. Oh, and Akamaru, the former Hyuga reported. In an instant, Naruto summoned Kazuma. The Shadow Company commander entered the room. Yes, Chief. Who is in Kimen City at the moment? General Ni and a squad of her Hellcats are present, as is General Mamachi, Kazuma replied. Inform them of the situation and have them to escort the Konoha ninja here, Naruto ordered. Kazuma bowed. Right away, Chief. Kazuma quickly departed from the room. Then Naruto looked at the shattered glass in his hand. Ow. The imperial capital was bustling with activity. Not even Konoha had such a thriving nightlife, not even during the Kyubi festival. As the two port guards had explained, it was the tail end of the week-long Unification Festival. As the team from Konoha took in the sights, they saw that this place wasn't as much different from Konoha, from the shops to the manner of dress. Even the money was the same. The only difference was that there were patrols of samurai and ninja in the streets. Squads of 2, sometimes 3. They even identified ninjas by the same style of flak vests. You hardly even see samurai back in the east, Ino noted. Kakashi nodded. The last shinobi war wiped out most of them. What's left are now in Iron Country. Same thing could happen here. But from what I can tell, even our most seasoned Junin and Anbu units would have a hard time eliminating these samurai. If the imperial forces are capable of destroying the Akatsuki, then they would be invaluable to Konoha as allies. Kurenai nodded as well. I can sense their chakra. Very strong indeed. Akamaru, in the meantime, was whining softly. The large dog did not like the crowded streets. Kiba patted the dog on his back. Don't worry, boy, the crowd is thinning out, he said, reassuring the dog. So what's the plan? Kurenai asked as Kakashi looked at the map. We find a hotel for the night, Kakashi explained. Then we head for the Imperial Palace and see if we can gain an audience with the Emperor. Kurenai nodded. Then she felt her senses going haywire. Kakashi sensed it as well. Rapid movement, both from the rooftops and on the ground, coming in fast. 5 kunoichi, armed with steel ninjutsu and kunais and clad in the standard ninja uniform with khaki flak vests, similar in design of the same type of vests that Konoha uses, landed and surrounded the Konoha ninja, who quickly got into a defensive stance. As the civilians backed away, 5 Onabugaisha, female samurai, rushed in, katanas drawn. Like their ninja counterparts, they also wore the flak vests which identified them as the Hellcats, the all-female fighting force under the command of Yugito Ni. Stay where you are. One of the Hellcats shouted, ready for anything. Kiba growled and was preparing to fight his way out, when Ino stopped him. Kiba, no, fighting will only make things worse, she warned. We're here for an alliance, not to make war. Kiba understood, and backed down. 2 of the ninja parted, allowing the commander of the Hellcats to step through. Blonde hair, brown eyes, mean expression. There was no Hittite identifying her, as she needed none. She was dressed like the others, save that her flak vest was solid black. The two women who had parted for their commander closed ranks again. Kurenai recognized the woman almost immediately. Yugito ni, of Kumogakure no Sato. Jinchuriki to the two tails. Looks like the emperor is friends with Kumo. Yugito nodded. And you are Kurenai Uehi. My reputation precedes me. I am honored. However, you are mistaken. I no longer serve the cloud. My loyalty is with the emperor. Make one wrong move, Konoha ninja, and my Hellcats will rip you to shreds. At that declaration, the captured ninja's eyes went wide. Not because of Yugito's threat, but they knew that they were from Konoha, and that they were caught. It was then, Kakashi received a second shock. The copycat ninja felt something sharp on his neck. Looking down, his eye widened as he recognized the blade. Well. If it isn't copycat Hatake. Looks like the boss was right. This is my lucky day. Kakashi's eye went wide. The owner of the blade was none other than Zabuza Mamachi, former mist swordsman, thought to have been dead back in Wave, was alive, and had Kakashi at sword point. Zabuza, you're alive, Kakashi muttered. How? For a ninja who tells others to look underneath the meanings, you sure are dense, Zabuza said. Let's just say that I knew that Runtgato was going to betray Haku and me, so I had a little insurance policy in the form of a blood clone. He grinned maniacally. You and I have some unfinished business, Hatake. Before Yugito could reprimand her bloodthirsty comrade, a third party made their appearance. Emerging from the ground by way of the gathered shadows, was the general of Shadow Company, Hideo Kazuma. At that moment, the villagers knew that if the head of the Shadow Company was involved, then usually, it meant bad news for the offending party. It's a member of the Shadow Company, the eyes and ears of the Emperor, here, in this town, what are they doing here? At that moment, a wave of demonic killer intent washed over the warriors present, both Imperial and from Konoha. For the ninja of the leaf, especially to Kakashi and Kurenai, it felt awfully familiar. With a roar, the nine-tailed fox made its grand entrance in a geyser of flame, standing next to the seeker. Instead of her normal size, the most powerful of the beasts was around Akamaru's size, if not bigger. Most surprising, was the fact that the townspeople did not run away screaming in terror at the sight of the nine tails. The Hellcats stood at attention and bowed, as did Yugito and Zabuza. Kyuubi-sama, Yugito greeted. The ninja from Konoha have been apprehended, as per the Emperor's orders. The massive fox nodded. Good work. Then the nine tails turned to the petrified leaf ninja. Just like you Konoha scum, the nine tails sneered. You have a very bad habit of coming into places where you are not wanted. Kiba was the first to get back his voice. Oh yeah, what's it to you demon? Or would you rather be called Naruto? Now you done it, Zabuza muttered as he inched to the side. Even he knew better than to raise the ire of the vixen, as he had learned the hard way. As the townspeople wondered that the idiot was saying, Katami quickly reacted. One massive tail lashed forward, catching the dog ninja by the throat and lifting him into the air. Kiba, Kurenai shouted helplessly as she watched her former pupil being hanged from the air. Then the Konoha ninja watched as the nine tails transformed from a demonic-looking fox to a shapely woman with long red hair tied into a single braid, and clad in a crimson ninja uniform with black trim, all a dead or alive's Kasumi, and sandals. A black fox's head was on the back of the uniform. Her eyes were still red, as the tails around her form. This is the only time I will tell you this, you little mutt, so pay attention, Katami snarled. The kid and I are not one and the same. We are completely separate entities. Just like you people to get the jailer mixed up with the prisoner, she concluded as she slammed Kiba to the ground, the dog lover bouncing on the hard street once upon impact. From the sidelines, Zabuza winced. That's gotta hurt. As Ino rushed to heal the bruised Kiba, Katami willed the tails away, her eyes shifting from a demonic red to emerald green. Despite this, Katami still had an angry look to her face. Under any other circumstances, I would kill you where you stand. However, the Emperor and Empress Consort wants all of you alive and in one piece when I bring you to them. Any resistance from any one of you, and I'll let Zabuza have his fun." The Konoha envoy gulped. Despite it being the wrong reasons, they had gained an audience with the Emperor and his wife. The only problem was whether or not they would survive the encounter. Katami turned to Kazuma. "Inform the Emperor and Empress Consort that we will arrive with the Konoha ninja momentarily." Once Kazuma was gone, Yugito had her Hellcats escort the captured ninja to the Imperial complex. On the way, the Konoha ninja passed the Suna and Mist consulates, of which were easily identified by the ninja guarding the compounds, as well as the flags of their respective villages that were flying from the entrance. Following the pathway out of the city, the group reached the Imperial complex, the nerve center of the unified West. Beautiful, yet intimidating. The guards bowed to Katami, to which she replied with a single nod. Turning towards the House of Sovereigns, the Nine Tails led the prisoners and their guards there. It didn't take too long for the group to reach their destination. Beyond the wooden double doors was the throne room. The doors themselves were guarded by a samurai guard, who bowed their heads in respect to the Biju Queen. "The Emperor and Empress Consort will arrive shortly, Lady Akashia," one of the samurai said. Katami nodded and turned around. "Zabuza, Yugito, you are no longer needed. The rest of you Hellcats remain here." Once Yugito and Zabuza disappeared, Katami turned to the Konoha ninja. "Watch what you say around the Emperor and his wife," she warned, of which was directed to Kiba and Ino. The throne room's guards opened the doors and the Konoha ninja were ushered inside. Katami walked up the steps and stood beside and behind the throne on the left. At the far end of the throne room, the doors opened and in stepped the most powerful couple in the Western Empire. His clothes stained with the wine from earlier, Naruto had changed into his black vest, pants and boots. He wore no shirt underneath, which showed off his muscular arms. The black cage-style hat was on his head. Only this time, there was no mask to conceal his face. Hinata was at his side, looking at the gathered ninja with genuine disgust. The Konoha ninja were in shock, especially Kurenai, Shino and Kiba. Hinata was the wife to the most powerful man in the empire, the Akatsuki killer himself. Husband and wife sat down on their thrones. "Even after 8 years, the leaf continues to mock us by sending you here," Naruto said, his voice hard enough to cut steel. He looked at the prisoners that stood before him and Hinata. Kakashi Hatake, Kurenai Sarutobi, Shino Aburame, Ino Yamanaka, Kiba Inuzuka, and Shikamaru Nara. 2 special Junin and 4 members of the Konoha 11. He turned to his wife. "Or should the number be 6? Isn't this the little reunion between old friends, Haim? And here I thought they would be happy to see us." Now Kakashi was puzzled. "Us? What do you mean by us?" Naruto raised one hand to his hat and removed it from his head, allowing the article to fall to the ground. "So slow to catch on, Hatake." Kurenai's eyes widened in total shock, as did Kakashi. For a moment, the elder Junin thought that they were looking at Minato Namikaze himself. "Minimum. Minato-sensei," Kakashi whispered. Naruto shook his head. "I am not my father. I am the one Konoha had thrown away." He looked at Kakashi. "Remember what you said to me the day I was banished following the retrieval of the Uchiha?" "I most certainly do, as you told me off in front of the Konoha 11. You are worse than trash. You are scum." The reaction was instant. Even Akamaru was shocked. And at that moment, they knew. The dead last, the demon of Konoha, Kakashi's former student, which he had all but written off as worthless and abandoned him in the aftermath of the Uchiha retrieval mission, was the Emperor of the Unified West. The same person who had taken down the majority of the Konoha 11, as well as several high-ranking Junin, and earned the nickname Akatsuki Killer for his actions which had brought about their destruction in the Suna Akatsuki War. The hair was reddish and the whiskers were gone, but there was no mistaking his identity. No freaking way, Kiba whispered. It can't be. Ino gasped. Quote. Shino was silent, but despite everything, he was in the same state as his comrades. His former teammate, labeled as AS Class Missing Ninja, was the wife of the banished Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Naruto, Kakashi whispered. Then his eye widened in horror as he came to a realization. Oh, my god, Sensei, your son, what have I done? The one and only, Naruto replied. I am the Emperor of the Unified West, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. And I am the Empress Consort, Hinata Namikaze. Hinata finished. Only one thought was going through the Konoha team's minds, save for Shikamaru. Oh, shit.